Blog Talk Radio.
This is Funny to the Moon. I am one of your co-hosts, Travis Simmons. We are live here on 9 a.m. on the West Coast on Memorial Day weekend. Today's starting topic will be all things military. Tana Manu and I both were in the Marines. We got other military persons on our show before. We had them. We had Ron Osborne, who was in the Army. We had, I think we had Ty, who was in, I think the Army as well. And we're waiting for Tana Manu to call in. I was just looking up stats, and there was a stat that said that female soldiers' suicide rates triples when at war. And I saw a stat last couple of days. I was trying to find the article about how in the last couple of months more soldiers have died by suicide than by enemies doing anything. And if that's the case, and the psychological toll is on these young men so heavy, maybe it's time that we begin to think about ending these wars. I don't understand how we can be in perpetual wars for over 10 years. It doesn't make any sense to me. I wish that somebody could explain that. It's like I'm sitting here talking by myself. I have a great new respect for people who do radio. Tana is here. Hey, Tana, how you doing?
Hello?
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. I was trying to.
I know.
Oh, you didn't see I was on?
No, because then I go over, click over to the chat room, see if somebody's there, and then I'm clicking on the Facebook, sending out, hey, we're live.
Well, just at the starting, we should maybe.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
If you were talking, and I'm like, yeah, because hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello. Wait. Hello. And you just kept talking. It's like, oh, I can't hear it. You obviously can't hear me.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Sue, I heard you saying something about suicides.
Yeah, I was looking at this article. It was talking about women's, suicide, but I'm like, there's some men's suicide stats, and I'll look those up right now and find out what it says here. There's an article from USA Today, January 20th, 2011. It says that there was a 24% increase in suicides last year in the Army. 24%. Well, gas prices went up 24%, so you can feel the pain.
It starts for me, like I was saying on other episodes, but not a lot, so we'll cover it mostly on this one, is the old school natural expendability of the male human. That's number one. This is how it starts it all, I think, is that women carry the baby 9 months, right? Magic happens. It's a miracle. It starts with some goo, and then 9 months, bam, a baby. It's crying, raise it, turns into an adult. It's nuts. And so the woman is very, very, very important. She has to be protected, and when she gets to the end of her pregnancy, she can't help herself. And during pregnancy, she's completely vulnerable. Somebody needs to protect her. Just the act of having a baby, you just see that and know, oh man, that's painful. It renders you helpless for the moment it's happening. So we understand since cave times, since we walked out of Africa, that women, that process to create a new human, it seems to happen in the woman, and so that makes her very important and necessary. The man isn't. He can come and go. You look at a lot of species, the boy has to leave and go find his own way and do whatever. You look at the Mormon, those sort of pedophile camps they have in Colorado City, and where they do all the multiple wives. They kick the teenage boys out.
Right.
When they get to a certain age. The military, the draft, the what is it called? The something selection that every 18
selective service.
Selective service. There's an idea that you have these playthings, these toys, these expendable humans. So when you're a leader, either it doesn't matter if you're a democratic elected leader or if you're a despot or a king or a queen or a dictator, everybody across the planet still has this monkey idea about the expendability of the male. And so everyone plays in these games of war knowing that fact first. The first fact is, I've got a bunch of chess pieces that'll run around with real guns on them and laser sights and shoot at each other. So I'm going to add that into my dispute-resolving tool chest. How I'm going to resolve disputes is maybe I'll go to that chess game of real live humans because they're so expendable and not important. Could you do it with babies or children? Never. 9-year-olds, no. Could you do it with women ever? All women force. We see women rappelling, women swimming through the ocean with packs and guns and all that shit. We just wouldn't allow it. It's just, they're just too important. I mean, to hear that 3,000 female soldiers died today, that would rock us. That would rock us.
Right.
Women,
they could be making more soldiers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but for us, support the troops and blah, blah, blah. So it starts with men are not that important. They're not as important as women, especially young men, and then young, poor, uneducated men are really used for this kind of stuff. So without the idea that, again, that boys are precious, that men are as special as women, because I'm a scientist, and I know women, I know what it feels like to a woman, right? I know what it feels like, that she is more special, she is more caring, and a lot of stats show when it comes to children, like the microloan thing, women do shine above men. In many things, especially using these loans to bring their families up, paying them back, all that stuff. It's the women. The men, they'll either take the money and not do nothing with it, or, it's bad. And so women do have a lockdown on some certain types of behavior. But as a scientist, Mother Nature is not thinking that her role is as big and as precious a role as we humans think it is. To Mother Nature, you say Mother Nature, the woman is the main one, right? She's like, what? I mean, and it's like the man is a monkey, he's almost a rock, but the woman is the blessed angel bringing the womb of life, right? And Mother Nature is like, it doesn't roll like that. Look, you think one is more than the other? Then why would I split them apart? Listen, the reason why the man needs to be apart and is as equal as the woman in this is because what he brings to baby making carries on the genetic mutations and changes to the next generation. Our sperm, we have to be split so we go out and we eat our own food and we have our own diet. And then that makes our sperm however healthy it's going to be by how we're living. If any improvements to the human species is sent through the male, the sperm is changing with the world, while the egg is not. The egg is how it arrived. It's staying like that. And so the man carries, I don't want to say the improvements, but the role of the man is so necessary that Mother Nature doesn't think that the gestation period, 9 months inside the womb, is more than that. I really don't believe that. I really don't think Mother Nature is going, yeah, you know what, if I had a choice, I'd kill off all the men. Yeah, that's how I made it, kind of. One almost isn't necessary. And we just don't, we haven't ever been in a climate on this planet yet to try to acknowledge the 50-50 role of male and female, because we just still haven't done it. Still, when the boat is going down, women and children first. We just, when it's time for war, when it's time for D-Day, when they run the numbers and say, all right, you guys, we need 800,000 dudes. Woo! How many are going to die? maybe we're thinking only 30. You know, so 800,000 will lose 30. They already know the numbers. They already know where the guns are. They already know how many is going to die. Who do they send into that? Into those wall of bullets? Boys, men. Who gives a fuck about them? They already planned that so many will die. They know for a surety the casualty loss, the percentage of it, and send in the boys. Knowing they're sending half of those motherfuckers they're sending, knowing they are going to die. Now, my brain, knowing that, would stop and say, listen, we've got to achieve what we believe to be 0 casualties. Otherwise, when I send, you're saying 500 people will die out of 10,000. You think those are good numbers? Then that means I'm lying to 500 of these boys by telling them good luck and have a good fight and patriotism and support the troops and all the bullshit. That means I'm lying to 500 of them. And the people are able to do it. I'm telling you, it's the lack of morality.
You're right, Tina. It depends on the task at hand, but if it's a task that is not worthy of someone, having to protect us with their lives, I don't see why we need to be risking lives. Does that make sense? I mean, I was saying, there's no imminent danger. There's no imminent danger that we need to be wasting up any troops' lives where they are under psychological stress to have to go over for a 5th tour and, all that type of shit. We had a caller on the line. Caller with the first 3945. What's your name?
954?
Yeah, 954. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, what's up? This is Reggie. Been listening to your show for the past, I guess, a day and a half, and I'm just really enjoying it. And I myself, I am in the Army, so I know a lot about what you guys are talking about, so I find it very relevant.
Oh, thank you. Well, we should have said, I guess as a disclaimer, I was in the Marine Corps, and so was Travis. And when I first joined, and people are uncomfortable with this part of it, but when I was a young boy, I joined on my 17th birthday, right, with permission from my parents and all that, and I was so proud that all my documents had my birthday on them. That's why I wanted to do it. So I was exactly 1 day out of 16 when I joined the Marines. Then I had to graduate high school about 4 months later, and then went into boot camp and all that. So here I was, a patriot, ready to serve, son of an immigrant father, first generation, right? And loved this country, thought it'd be a great idea. And, saw the commercials and all that. And so here I was, this good kid, in every word a good kid. I mean, a virgin. I didn't even mess with no girls yet. And here I was, serving my country. I arrive at boot camp, and the language is, you fucked up, you stupid da-da-da, scumbag, this and that. Somebody's home fucking your girlfriend. Somebody's home fucking your mom. I could have been your daddy if your mom drove faster or some jokes like. I go, wait, whoa, what the fuck is going on here, man? I'm here. You got to respect me. I'm a patriot. I ain't done nothing wrong to you. You tell me what to do, and I will train my hardest to do that. Why are you talking to me like this? I didn't get a girl pregnant, and I'm forced to be here. I'm not trying to escape some county jail time, so I'm joining the military. I'm not like 25 and I've got 3 kids and this is my last effort to get a paycheck. I love this country and I'm here to serve, and you're going to talk to me like that? And everything was shattered. Everything. I knew right then and there on day one this was fake. That they hated me, that they hate the people that join, that they think that joining is stupid, that they're upset with themselves that they've spent so much time in the military, I think. I mean, I was, right away as a kid, I had no barriers. I didn't have any, like, my grandfather was in the military, so I'm trying to paint a pretty picture about it. I was pure. So I had no one to answer to, and I was able to make an honest assessment of what the military is. And if you don't think they hate you, talk to wounded veterans and how hard it is to get help and who gets help and who doesn't get help, right? Some guys get the billion-dollar treatment. They're on to the news. They get updates. How's your new leg, Captain so-and-so? You think, wow, that's how they do all these guys that come home? They get the best titanium shit. They get the new leg. They get to go on TV. No, that's fake. When the guys come back, look at the homelessness. Look at the brain traumas. Look at the schizophrenia. Look at the suicide rate. It's an awful thing to think that you can go and kill somebody and that is not going to sink into your soul, into your bones, and make you crazy. The numbers only go one way. And so
wow.
This is maybe the only memorial show that will be like this.
Yeah. You know what, Tina? I remember when I got off the plane in San Diego, and they had someone there waiting for you, right when you get off the plane, and they walked us down to the bus, and, we're walking through the airport, and as soon as we got on the bus, and everybody was on the bus, and they closed that door, somebody started yelling at me. And I, right then, was like Matthew Broderick in Biloxi Blues, man. First 15 minutes, I was hating everybody. Like, man, I have fucked up. Everybody who was trying to talk me out of doing this was right.
May I add something to that?
Sure.
I happened to go to infantry school in Fort Benning, Georgia, and I can definitely identify with what you're saying, because when we got into the cattle truck, as soon as we got out, man, it was like a scramble up the hill, and we got what we call smoked. I don't know if you guys call it the same thing on the Marine side, but we got smoked, and I think they did something to me, because like we had to drink like 3 or 4 canteens back to back to the point that my bladder was swollen, and I felt it like hitting my front and my rear when we had to go to chow, and people were throwing up all over the place, man. I mean it's not nice. It's gotten a whole lot better since then, because I hear that basic training got a whole lot more, I guess, humane or whatever, but definitely, I myself was caught up in the game in that, my goal was to basically make it through so I can pay for my college education. And when I was over there, it was the first time I was meeting people from all over the country, to include white people. And the reason why that's important is because I didn't really have a lot of exposure to them. But you hear the stories about how, yes, they do have criminal backgrounds, or they got all kinds of issues. And like the brother is saying that he was pure, I was like, man, this was the first time I'm out of my parents' house, and I'm just trying to make it through, and I'm exposed to so much, and I just didn't have nobody to explain to me what it was going to be like. But I had to do what I had to do in order to get where I had to get. So I can definitely vouch for his experience and your experience, and it's definitely true, and it's something that regular people can't relate to. And I'm a war veteran. I went to Iraq in 03, 04, and I didn't kill nobody, not that I saw anyway. But I know, and I try to bring it back home, that this hero worship, man, is very it's tough. It's very tough, because how are you gonna kill somebody? And like you said, and not feel anything. I mean, you have to really be sure that the person that that was trying to hurt you was like the enemy. But I figured out that the reason why they're shooting at me is because they feel that I'm the enemy. You have to tell yourself that the person is worth killing. And I've been to enough people's homes to let you know that most of the people that we're dealing with were just caught up in the game. And there's a lot of innocent people that get killed, and when they get killed, so and so want to take revenge, and they're just willing to shoot anybody that's in uniform, and that might have been me, and then I would have to kill them, and the cycle keeps going on and on. So it's real.
Yeah, and I think you see how if on their side they on their side, it's also the poorest and the most uneducated boys in every country that are in every army, in every military service, right? You don't go, nuh-uh. In England, it's the richest, most educated kids are in the army, right? There is no country like that where you can say, no, in Germany, they all have they all have 4-year degrees in their military. You know, it's like it's across the board. Who's in the military in every country? The poor and the uneducated of that country, including us, especially us.
Right. I don't mean to interrupt, but I was in Iraq when all those kind of jokes were coming out about, you know, the imbalance as far as how there's a high rate of you know, the joke about South Park, they put all the Negroes to the front. I don't know if you heard about that. Where like
no, tell us about it. Tell us about it specifically, and then I want you to tell us what smoked means. You mentioned it earlier, and I don't know what that means either. Does that mean like it worked you out real hard, or made you all tired, or what?
Right. Smoking is a term used in the Army. That means that they make you do, especially like push-ups, any kind of basically exercise until you're smoked out. You're so tired. It's usually used as a form of punishment or a way to use as what we call corrective action. Like if they're trying to like basically teach you a certain something, they make you do push-ups or flutter kicks until you know you submit to what they're trying to like teach you. So that's what smoking is. If you get, and they use it for punishment as well.
Well, right there, I would like to say I don't want to belong to any group who this is how they think is the best way to teach somebody. I'm sorry, that's wrong. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's the thing. You, as a member of the unit, you're discouraged from being an individual. My whole purpose while I was in that formation was to not be noticed by the drill sergeant. If the drill sergeant noticed you, it was not a good thing. You know, what I went through would be considered abuse in a lot of places. A lot of places. But
wherever it's not considered abuse is incorrect. It is abuse. You're right. If you're sitting there,
that's my point. And maybe it was, you know, maybe people said, yes, you know, Tana, someone like you shouldn't have joined because, you know, first of all, my life was already extremely disciplined. I had just spent my high school years waking up, you know, 5:30 in the morning to do an hour of Bible study before classes. And so I had my paper route in the morning. It's like discipline, and then I was from a construction family, so all growing up, especially during the summers, I learned sheet metal fabrication. I was about 13 from my dad. It was my first trade, and then slowly you pick up some plumbing, pick up some electrical, you know, and then always working on cars and stuff, and so just all this kind of stuff. So here I am, 17, and I'm pretty proud of myself. Just graduated high school, got some skills behind me already, got some trades that I could keep on working and getting better at if I need to. Got a good foundation, good work ethic. You know, I'm disciplined, not a lazy kid, right? And here's somebody telling me I'm a scumbag and I'm stupid for joining and I fucked up and now he owns me and this and that. And I'm looking at this man and I knew that he had half the brain as me. Even at that age. Even at that age, I said, you are dumber than me and I'm calling you sir. And I disrespect you down into my piss. I disrespect you. I can see how soft you are just because you think you get up early and yell at children. You are soft, brother. You motherfuckers are hurting. You wish you were somewhere else. And so I could, like I said, because I had no filters. I had no love or hatred for the military. I had no relatives. We were first generation. Most of my relatives didn't speak that good of English. And on my white side, no one had been in the military. They were farmer people and timber people, right? So I wasn't trying to love the military and had blinders on. I arrived to say, let me exactly see what this is about. You know, we don't do flags in the yard. We're not those type of people. I'm just clean and pure. Let me see. And right away I realized these people hate you. You ain't trying to train me. I can learn shit, motherfucker. I already know shit. And guess what? I learned it by learning it. No one had to yell at me or make me do, they had us doing sit-ups in this dry riverbed. We were hiking somewhere. And some kid did something to make one of the instructors mad. So he had us take off all our stuff, go down to this like dry riverbed with these big round rocks, about softball-sized and bigger rocks, rounded from the water. But since it was dry, so we're in there, and he's had us get down and do sit-ups in those rocks. knowing that how it hurts, how it hits your ribs and your spine. You can't find a spot because you're on rocks. And walking around and shoving people in the chest with his foot to go down, to be on the rocks. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Right? And yet support the troops, and you're not supposed to talk back to somebody in a motorcycle club with an American flag on his jacket. Motherfucker, we got two worlds then. If you love the military like that, I don't know which one you were in.
Can I suggest?
I don't know who. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, a couple of things. I'm also, I guess you can say, first-generation immigrant myself. My parents are from Haiti, and my standing order was to swim. You know, my parents were responsible for giving me like the roof over my head, and I joined the National Guard because they gave an opportunity to get some education via that route. So I can tell you from what you're saying, I can remember going through those hard stages, and I felt that from what you're saying, I'm just thinking that those instructors felt that the Army had, or the force, the military had gone soft because back in the day, probably their generation or a little bit further back, they used to be able to hit people. Like, I don't know if you've seen Full Metal Jacket. That's a movie that was referenced a lot by the drill sergeants, and that was the Marines. And you know, like today, I feel that basic training, from what I've heard, has gone soft. There's a lot of that animosity going on for real, and that a lot of the soldiers, like you said, when I met them and I heard about their situations, being that they were given the Army as an option for not going to jail, or so on and so forth. A lot of these people, like, it was like their last leg. And I'm not saying I felt superior, but at least I felt like, wow, I had a reason for being here as a stepping stone. And I didn't know it was going to be like that, but I just figured that that's how everybody, had to do. But that's not true, because from my experience, people that are not infantry, their basic trainings were nowhere near as tough. And although I'm not trying to say that what they did was correct, what we're told is that as infantry, we're paid to break our necks. All this machismo, which is a word that a lot of my friends don't like to use, all that machismo is built part of the program, because we're supposed to be tough, and we're supposed to be able to take pain, because war is nothing fun. And all these things come from the old school of thinking. The way that you're thinking, the way that you're speaking, the way that I think, the way I speak is blasphemous in the force, because you're going to be seen as soft and things of that nature. And I was told in Iraq that we protect democracy, we don't promote it. You know what I'm saying? Like, free speech is not the thing that we do.
Right, and so that by itself is it's unrighteous. Look, first of all, I don't even know where to start here. One, when you got a bunch of people who went through a bunch of stuff, and now it's less happening, and they have animosity built up to the new persons. To me, that falls under the category of once you had something done to you that you disliked or hated, if you do or allow that to happen to anyone else, you're worse than the person that did it to you. Okay? That goes for so many things. So I remember, I remember when they had all of us, the whole platoon, cram ourselves into a shower, right? With boots on, with the uniforms on, right? And then they turned the water on, and then had us do like you're supposed to get down on your hands and then run in place. So people are smashing each other's fingers and shit. Are you with me here? And I'm thinking to myself, how is this helping me? Yeah, mountain climbers. How is this helping me do anything? Okay, I got people stepping on my hands, and to me, it is like some out of control frat boy. 12-week, hazing.
Yeah, no, and that's what I thought. Like, because look, here's what I thought it would be like. Right? Welcome, young men, proud patriots, all of you. You have just joined the Marine Corps. What you will learn here is the techniques of this, of that. You will learn weaponry. You will learn tactics. Your role will be the first line of defense for this country against terrorist, foreign, and domestic, and that kind of speech.
Right.
And your diet will be of primary concern. Your physicality will be of primary concern. But most of all, your mental health and state of mind will be the most important thing when you're on the battlefield, right? And blah, blah,
Right.
blah. And so let's start. It's like UFC. Here's what you need to learn. Here's the moves. We're going to teach you some jiu-jitsu. We're going to do a little boxing. Nobody's going to, right? Then the boys sit up straight. Then they stick their chest out, and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try my hardest. But no, they start out, you stupid motherfuckers, welcome. It's like, what are you doing here? Who do you think you're dealing with? Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
criminals and idiots?
Actually, I think that those instructors are talking to themselves.
Yeah,
they're talking
that's
to
what
themselves.
Yep.
I can't believe you did this to me. Because honestly, we talked about this on our very first episode of Funny to the Moon with Ron Osborne, and we were talking about how just if you got into the wrong platoon with the wrong drill instructor, and you were done. It's horrifying. But the same thing, once you're in the military, if you got into a place where somebody didn't like you or somebody in charge didn't like everybody, man, you felt sorry for those guys. Man, I'm glad I'm not in that platoon.
Yep. No, you're right. And to me, it's just the whole technique behind the training. The idea is, well, they got to break you down to build you up. I go, what? What? Who's walking into this? What, slugs break you down? You have champion patriots. You have people who love freedom and want to defend this Constitution. Why would you break that down? Why would you break that down? Who the fuck made up this system? Colin Powell's a smart man. I mean, ask me. I'll teach you how to train these guys. I mean, is this really what grown-ups have figured out on how to train us? Break you down to build you up? Why don't they do that in the universities? Is that what's that?
Let me interject real quick. The breakdown, right, from what I experienced, when the individuals come into the basic training arena, they're like cattle, right? I mean, they literally have X amount of time to jam so much information into a human being, make them tough, right? And carry on the process, and because everything has it's like a machine. It's a factory, and each
Okay, so
individual
basically you're saying that they treat the soldiers like motherfucking hamburger, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Well, then we're not hamburger, and that's what Tana was saying. That ain't the right way to do shit. Right?
Wait. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but like from my experience, once again, like you have to take basically a whole bunch of individuals from all walks of life, right, and turn them into a specific thing, which is a soldier with
ready
a
to die.
time, right, with a time thing, and we're about to do something that's counterintuitive, which is to run towards the fire, right? I mean, it's the hardest thing, and I don't know if what he's promoting, like as far as the welcome patriots, and this, I'm not saying it's not going to work, right? I'm just saying that for the things because like when I was like 18 when I joined, right? I don't have the concepts of what they talking about. I remember being in formation. They asked me who's down to kill a man and or who's not down to kill a man. I was the only person in the entire company that said that I was not trying to blow somebody's head off, because I figured that's some fucked up shit. But overall, you're trying to enlist into to be a killer. That's what we're brought up to be. It's nothing nice. It's nothing nice. So I don't think that's necessarily that.
I think that's what. Yeah.
That's what they want you to think. Yeah, but that ain't the case. I'll go for a couple seconds, and then you go, Tina, because you're going to go long.
No, okay.
Yeah, and I think it's wrong to act like for a second that they have figured out all of the best ways to do something, or even all the best ways to do something quickly. It's that part is faulty thinking. They have not figured it out. You have people who are running this thing, who have on the back end have all kind of back end deals with war profiteers. Okay? And so you got to look at it, you got to add that into your thing. Yeah. If they're assembly lining your ass into some shit, there's a profit motive, first of all. So look there, and I see that as being unrighteous. If you got to yell at me for me to be able to accept what you are telling me, then what you're telling me ain't all the way righteous. Because I'm not in emergency mode all the time. They don't do that only at wartime. They do that at peacetime when they're training you. Okay? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was training in 88, 87, 88. So there was peacetime. We didn't have no war going on, and yet still that's what the training was like.
Yeah.
Well,
But it goes down to the idea of who does the military think is joining, right? If they think you're there, they know you're stupid. If they think you're there, they know you're violent and you're a brute and you're hoping to murder somebody. That's where they start with you. So they want to keep all that, but what they want to break down is your sense of freedom, your conscience, your morality, what your mom taught you. That's what they're trying to break down. They want to keep your murderer and your dumbass and your obedience and your credulity and all of that is what they're trying to maintain, so they can say, run over there and do that and run over there and do that. And my point is they hate the people that join. The military cannot stand its own troops. The numbers only go one way. And so, look, you just got to have the stories about the dirty hospitals and all the different brain psychiatric problems. And Travis was starting with suicide. Again, these are the expendable people of our human race, the young men. So nothing really matters. I mean, think of, it doesn't matter how many suicide statistics you'll get about men. Meanwhile, a man commits suicide 1 out of every 5 tries is successful, right? So every time 5 guys try to commit suicide, 1 of them really does, okay? Women, it's something like 1 in 30 attempts really end in a death, meaning women really aren't trying to kill themselves. It's more of a cry for attention. Men, when they get the gun to their head, they're really trying to do it. It's not a joke for them. And when people come back and commit suicide in these numbers, either while they're in the military or after they return from deployment, why isn't that taken seriously and looked at?
It is such a sign that something is fucked up. It really is. When you hear the numbers, they said that in the last couple of months, more soldiers died from suicide than from enemies. That is so awful to me that I'm like, okay, this is just like the Catholic priest thing. Somebody got to say something, and somebody has to keep saying something until that's not the case anymore.
Well, if you listen to the special Rumsfeld just did recently, it was like walking around with like Diane Sawyer, and they were doing this like 20 years later kind of interview because she interviewed him, I guess, years ago. So she's walking him through, I don't know, it was one of the penthouse buildings, I think, and he was showing like this memorial wall of all these hand-drawn art of different faces of different soldiers made by their friends and their kids, and I guess these are all soldiers that were killed or died. And so Diane Sawyer says, what do you think when you see something like this? And Rumsfeld was like, I think it's just wonderful. I mean, isn't it amazing that they're all volunteers? I mean, each one wanted to serve. Each person on this wall chose to give their life. And I'm like, this dirty dick. Listen to the language. This is what you get. That's what he's saying. He says, she's like, do you feel bad? Because he sent out the orders that got some of these people killed in certain actions. And he's like, no, because they're all volunteers. They all joined. They get what they get. We send them where we send them. If 1 million die, we could give a fuck. And that's the point of the military, is that everyone that joins, they're almost annoyed with. And that's the decisions they make. They don't... If there were not these young men all across the world filling these militaries, it would just be a bunch of old guys texting each other and calling each other names. It's the boys are the key. The boys are the key. It would be like there's a teenage prostitution problem, right? And nobody's talking about getting the teenage girls to stop doing it. That's what this is like. When you say there's a prostitution problem, you must stop the girls from getting into prostitution. That's how you stop the problem. When it comes to war, you must stop the boys from joining the military. That's how you stop war. That's the only way to stop war, is to make these boys...
Wait, go ahead. We have a caller, 497. You're going to be right after. Okay, we got 497, and then you talk right after Reggie. Go ahead, Reggie.
Yeah, hi. My name is Jay Early.
Okay, Jay.
Before I start speaking, let me say this. Well, number one, I'm a two-time Vietnam vet. Okay, so my question is this just going to be a bashing of the military, or is this going to be a both-side conversation? Because we're just bashing them in the wrong place. I've been around the military all my life. I am now 64 years old. I've been working with the military all those years. So my question is, do you want to hear the other side, or is this just bashing and I should get off the phone?
No. We want to hear. We want to definitely hear.
My challenge to you is to prove that there is another side besides old men sending young men to die for their causes. So what is the other side to this?
Okay, first of all, you need to number one, interview some people that are in the military right now. I'm a Vietnam vet. When I joined the military, there was RA, which is regular enlisted, and there was the draft. Okay, and the difference in the two is the individual that was drafted, normally after basic training, he was going to be in the infantry with a rifle in his hand in the jungle somewhere. Okay, and his chances of survival were not very good in Vietnam at that time. Those that joined the military, such as myself, they got to choose the job that they wanted to have, or the profession that they wanted to have. Now, I'm a flash forward very quickly. This is a volunteer army. Okay, no one puts the wool over anyone's eye when they join the military. Most people...
Could
I finish my statement, please?
No, wait.
Yes, I want to stick a flag there. I want to stick a flag. Yes, I'm just
Could I
sticking a
finish
flag
my
there
statement,
on that
please? I listened to you talk for the last 20 minutes. Could I make a statement?
Sure.
Okay, I'm around these guys every day. Okay, every day, ever since 1964. So that's why I said, if you want to hear something, I'll gladly talk. If not, tell me to get off the air.
No, we just want to stick a flag on you saying that no one is tricked. Because, first of all, just as a general thing, anytime someone says, when someone says absolute, then it's easy to jump in there. But as far as recruiters not tricking anybody, that's not fair. But go ahead and continue. We'll come back.
Let's say the recruiters didn't trick anybody. When I joined up, I joined for accounting and ended up becoming a pay clerk. Okay, they're filling quotas. Just like in any corporation, not everything in the Army runs smoothly. Okay, just like in any corporation in the United States of America. And the Army is a corporation. It's exactly what it is. Okay, now, the point I was trying to get at is the average person joins today, one, because of our economy, two, because of education. Education right now is costing about $25,000 a year for college, for 1 year of college. So young men choose to join. Okay, and this all started during peacetime war, right after Vietnam, as we know, because of that educational carrot. Okay, there are some good things to get out of the military. When I talk to young people in the military, I tell them, don't look at 20 years. All right, you get what you can get out of the military, be it education, be it learning a trade, and then you make your decision as to whether you want to stay or not. Now, the way that they train people in basic training, if you would let me speak on that just for a second, go back to, I think somebody said, one of the men said they were in the Marines, that the young guy that's talking kind of quiet said he was in the Marines, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, the reason that they do what they do, just think of this for a second. Yes, they want you to be able to follow an order, but to follow an order to be able to save your life in time of combat. One of the biggest problems that happened after Vietnam, when they changed the way that they trained soldiers, is a soldier was allowed to ask you why, Sergeant, versus following a direct order. Now, you imagine a guy being in the fire zone and the sergeant tell him to duck, and he turn around and ask the sergeant why and get the back of his head blown out. So yes, they do want you to be able to respond during time of war. Is why they train you right like that. But the training they get today in comparison to 1964 is no training. Is a baby boot camp. Is exactly what it is. I'll let you respond, sir.
Okay. So about the train. Okay, so having me respond to a command in a time of war to save myself and maybe others. Why tell me someone is home having sex with my girlfriend and he could have been my daddy if he would have known my mom when she was 15? And what is that doing to make my response in emergency happen? That is degrading me. What I think the military works on is not improving your emergency skills. It's taking away your morality, so that you say, shoot that guy in a turban.
Morality?
You'll do it. You'll do it because you see a turban.
Were you in the military?
Somebody told me.
Yeah, he was. Yes.
I'm saying, were you in the military yourself?
Yes.
I don't know. Okay, my name is Jay. What is your name, sir? The gentleman talks fast.
Everybody.
I'm sorry?
Yes, Tana. Everybody here is in. I was in the Marine Corps.
Tana.
Travis was.
Everybody on the
were you in
line.
the military?
Yes, everybody on the line was in the military.
Okay, what branch of service were you in?
He was in the Marines. Tana was in the Marines.
I was in the Marine Corps.
How long were you in, please? How many years did you serve? Okay, and
2.5
like
or so. No, I'm saying.
May I ask you what your reason was for joining?
Yeah, tell
Hold on, wait.
Tana,
There's a coming quick. What's the same?
Tana,
What was your reason for joining?
Tell them the reason you joined. Tell them the story again. Go ahead.
Because
Just quickly, the reason that you joined the military.
the reason I joined the military is because it's somewhat with the propaganda of the commercials. Also, how my family, as first generation immigrants, my father loved the westerns and the military movies and Iwo Jima and March of Bataan and all these like John Wayne movies of the military and all that. So growing up watching this stuff, and then being first generation American family, I thought this is a great thing for a patriot like me to do. 17 years old, right? Pure of heart, had said, I'm going to serve this country. I could have chose to go to school. I could have chose to work in my church and do other things. And I said, no, you know what? I'm going to go into the Marine Corps because look at these commercials. Honor, duty, right? Justice, freedom, democracy. I'm thinking, that's all me. That's all me. I'm already disciplined. I come from a construction family. I know how to build and climb around on buildings. I know about safety and equipment, and I've got skills. And I'm thinking, I'm going to take those skills and this love for my country and join this organization, which seems like they're talking about the right things to be. And on day one, I get in there, and all of this, you're a scumbag, you made a mistake. I mean, the way they treat people, I realized I had made a mistake. These people are not honorable. This is a dishonorable institution. Talking about, did you get an honorable discharge? An honorable discharge from a dishonorable discharge from a dishonorable institution is an honorable discharge.
Did you get an honorable or dishonorable discharge?
I got an admin discharge.
If you don't mind answering the question.
He said he got an admin discharge.
You got an admin discharge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
Not a medical, an admin discharge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he's being honest. He's being honest. He's telling you
Right.
what
That's what
Number one, you chose the toughest of all branches, which is the United States Army. I'm sorry, United States Marine Corps. That is the toughest of all. So I take my hat off you for choosing that one. Okay, but now a lot of people know not all of them make it in the Marine Corps. And the Marines are the first one in, and that's why if you were in a combat position, that's why they toughen you up for that. I was in the Army. I served my 10 years in military finance in the United States Army. Okay.
But I understand.
I kind of got what I wanted, not 100%. I got 75% of what I wanted from the military.
Right. I think, but what Tina's point.
But I
is
understand the training, and I understand the discipline. There's just to speak to someone like that, who is there to serve, who is there to honor their country, defend this Constitution. Why are you speaking to me like that? If
you don't think that the Marines
to
were there, that all those guys that are in the Marines, that serve in the Marines, that go in first, that they're there to serve their country, they have no honor? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's what they believe. Yes, they believe you have no honor. When you arrive, you have no honor. That's how they treat you.
He's saying that they were treating him like that. Like when you get off the plane and you get on the bus, as soon as the bus closes and you get out of the airport, somebody's yelling at you.
Right.
Not in a.
I went through that.
but not in a hop to it mode, but in a clown you for being stupid for doing this. And so when someone hits you, and if you are a thinker, if someone clowns you for being stupid, that sticks in your head. Like, why does he think I'm stupid?
And first of all, what's with the breakdown? I was already raised. My dad and mom did a great job. I was disciplined. I got up early for Bible study before high school. Right?
I explained to you. You think about just you, but they were training your whole platoon.
Yeah,
they were training the whole platoon, not just you. You're taking it personal. Everything that happened, you took it personal. Now, let me show you the opposite. When I joined, we knew what was coming during basic training. I joined underneath the buddy system. We made an agreement that whatever happened to us during basic, that we would laugh. And that's how we got through all the crap. So I've seen grown men cry when I was there.
That makes sense.
But that was the decision that we made as to how we would get through it. We didn't take it personal.
You're right. You placed in your head, because you were smart enough to, a psychological marker, a protection. You had gave yourself an antidote to someone trying to fuck with your head ahead of time.
There you go.
Now, I really wish. Now, you, sir.
But you just said that's your journey.
Yes. So basically, you had protected yourself from the awfulness. Okay?
Yeah, because I knew it was coming.
Right.
I know what's coming.
What I'm saying is, going back to your thing about people not being tricked.
I didn't.
Okay, he didn't know.
Uh-huh.
He didn't know. He wasn't he wasn't a person who knew. And there are a lot of guys, man. There were a lot of guys who didn't know. You see dudes who were when they were in the Marines, they were like, man, I fucked up. Yeah.
Well,
you know what? Honestly, when I was sitting there in boot camp and I was listening, this dude, like, this was early on. This was like first 5 or 6 days, right? When you're still all no sleep and nervous and don't know what you did. And this kid, I think his name was Wooten. His last name, Wooten. And the drill instructor, you don't know, right, what you're supposed to say yes or no to yet. So this kid was trying to make his bed or something they were yelling at us to do, and he wasn't doing it right. And the drill instructor started yelling at him. I told you this and that, da-da-da. And the kid was like shaking, nervous. We're just baby boys here. We are already raised by parents that love us. We're not trying to be yelled at by a grown man with spit in your face. And so that's what I was getting to the story. So the kid goes, what, are you scared? And the kid says, yes, sir. Because he doesn't know that the truth is not allowed yet. He hasn't been taught that don't tell the truth while you're here. So he told the truth. Yes, I'm scared, right, sir? And he said, what? And 2 other drill instructors ran over and said, well, if you're scared, then start crying, and started spitting in his face. So the spit was running down off his eyes to look like tears. Now we see you crying. Now you're crying. The maliciousness, the hatred of who had joined, these men were taught by the higher-ups to treat us boys like this. Spit in your face. If my father saw any of that happening to me, he would have came there and slit all of y'all throats. Marines, all right? That shit is dirty, and I don't care what history people put behind it. I ain't in love with your founding fathers, right? I'm in love with the Constitution. So I don't have to say any of this was nice and honor and duty and any of that. You're spitting in a boy's face who came here to serve his country on day 5?
Here's my question to you.
People can look around.
Why are you so violent about this?
Violent about it?
Why are you so upset about this?
Because it was wrong.
These people they were told by somebody that if they had any relatives that was in the Marines before, or they should have found out from them and had expected.
Why are you giving them that? Why are you giving them that? Oh, it's his fault. Because the boy didn't know he was going to get his face spit on. He should have brought some socks to cover his face. It's his fault. The treatment is what I'm talking about.
I got beat.
No, but
I wasn't beat there before. Okay, because they couldn't catch on what was going on, and they were causing us to pull extra duty and whatnot. Okay, so they got beat by their own peers.
Right, but wouldn't that be the same thing as if it was like somebody who, how can I put this? You're in a situation where you got a couple of hostage situations, or you're under suppression, and then they get you to eat your own. Because in a situation where there's no reason for them to be beating him, because he might not lifted his leg might not have touched the ground. They might have just said that, and oh, you the one that made us do more leg lifts, and then they go beat him up. They were looking for anybody for any small infraction to blame everything on. It's a game, and then for
there were a number of people in basic training that should not have been there, and you got to blame that on the recruiter. They were too weak to be
that's
there.
what I'm saying.
So their job in basic training is to weed them out, those weak ones, before they get somebody else killed when they're really under fire.
Right. So you, therefore, so then you now agree with us disagreeing with your original point about the recruiters don't trick people. Because they know.
Oh, no, remember I said that the Army, there's crooks in the Army also? I did say that.
Right.
I didn't get what I wanted when I joined. I thought I did until I got through basic training, got to my first duty station.
Right.
Okay, so people get tricked out. I meet people with master's degrees that they put in the Army as a Spec 4 because no one told them they could come in as an officer.
Right.
That recruiter was just worried about filling his quota.
Right.
Yes, sir, they are
So
out
the recruiter...
What I'm saying is that the military is not as bad as this gentleman is making out to be.
No, but what we're saying is
worse.
the recruiter
It's
is the
worse.
first... The recruiter is the first connection to the people. So if you put in the people who are slimy in those positions, you start off bad off the get-go. And I was
Travis, there's only slimy to choose from. You ain't getting.
That's not true. That's certainly not true.
This is car salesmanship. This is quotas.
You know where I'm coming from. Hey, I was told that I was thinking I could do like radio or something, and he said, "Yeah, we'll put you right in communication." Man, I ended up being a mortarman, man. Come on. I was.
Listen, they lie.
You know why? Because the MOS was short. That was why that happened to you.
But that
hey man, you seem to not want to say that's a lie.
That's not correct.
So that's a
lie. But it happens. I see it happens. I meet guys in the military every day.
But what we're saying is
they can end up reclassifying for what they really wanted in the
what
beginning.
I'm saying is that ain't fair. That ain't righteous,
That ain't
man.
fair. That is dishonorable. That is dishonorable.
That's not right. Honorable.
To do that.
And say that they
That is a lie.
Stuff at any time. They said that article said that a lot of the guys who were committing suicide just recently were National Guardsmen and stuff like that who had their stuff flipped and then they end up in Iraq. Now that person feels, if that is true, that person feels like somebody tricked them. They signed up for one thing and it ended up being something else. And people don't like being tricked, whether it's a car that you buy as is. Well, you signed as is, you know what I mean? And and what I analogized it to was about how when someone says, when you have a buddy complain about being married, right? They say the same thing to him that they did to me when I was in the Marines. Well, you should have thought about that before you signed the contract. Same thing they would say on a used car. And I'm saying you can't have these used car salesmen being the front line of picking the soldiers because they're picking people who obviously don't have the mental capacity to sit through somebody yelling at them in their face all the time because not everybody can do that. Not everybody can take that, and that's not how
nobody should do that. That is, it's inhumane and it's silly. It shows that the military now.
I'm not going to defend the recruiter. I'm defending the military, and because I've been around these guys all my life, and I see the good side of the military. I see the guy that does get the MOS that he wanted to.
The difference in what we're saying is, honestly, we felt like I have a camaraderie with all the people who I was in there with because we went through a bunch of the same things, right? And the only reason why we're even doing this show is because the point at the beginning was it's been 10 years over in Iraq and Afghanistan. And if people are going back for 6th and 7th tours, man.
They hate you. They hate you. That's why. 6 and 7 tours.
The people who hate
when
you
I was
are
in Vietnam, there was enough people in the military where you had a 2-year lockdown from deployment when you came back. Yes, the soldiers are overtasked, and there is a lot of pressure on them. There's a lot of pressure on their families. But that's because the military is understaffed because there is no draft anymore. That's why they're understaffed.
There's no draft in order to keep the anti-war movement down. That would be one. And then is what's going on right now draft worthy? Number 2. And then the other one is how do you feel? How do you feel as a veteran that they have these contractors over there making hundreds of thousands of dollars to do what the troops are doing, when the troops aren't getting that kind of dough and their families are home in poverty type situations.
Well,
and what about the lack of
contractors today?
Huh? What?
I was just talking to a contractor today. One, it is a get over for the contractors. Okay, the contractors are making way too much money. Soldiers make, well, if they're smart,
but
they'll come back with extra 20 or 30 grand. But they would have if they went over there. Okay, the war, as we all know, should have ended a year after it started to begin with.
Right.
Because what they just did, okay, they could have did 10 years ago. It's ridiculous. Okay, you had 6,000 some people died for nothing.
Exactly.
Because they could have really got the guy in the first year if they went to Afghanistan and really chased him down.
See, you're really on the same side as us. You really are on the same side as us.
Like Navy SEALs, they disappear for 3 months behind line, and they're doing some things that they can't even talk about when they get back. So yeah, there are killers in the military. That's for sure.
No.
But they're doctors, lawyers.
Travis, before we move on to more technical things and the contractors, I think we need to separate something here, because the caller's defending. He says I'm defending the military, and I'm not defending the military. Like I'm defending the people. The guys, the brotherhood, the bonds that are built in combat, and the guys that went out and did it. You got to love them forever. The young men like myself that served and did it. I give all my love. It's the organization that's wicked. It's the military is dirty. It's wicked. It's like the Catholic Church. I know some beautiful Catholics, helpful, loving Catholics that would loan me money, that would pick me up, that would get me out of jail. Beautiful people. But the Catholic Church is still dirty. Those Catholics are beautiful people. But what I'm saying is, I'm saying the military is wicked and dirty and backwards and mean and hateful to the soldiers. The soldiers are the bomb. These blessed citizens that choose, like I did, to serve their country in the best possible way with love, honor, patriotism, and duty in their hearts. Those are my heroes. I'm on the side of those people completely. But the military is still dirty. The military establishment is wicked, is what I'm trying to say.
So you said that you only got 75% of what you were supposed to get. So somehow you got slighted. Answer this: when you saw the articles about the hospitals that were unkept, I'm thinking, couldn't the contractors' money have been used to fix that hospital? Couldn't it? How
I can say this because I visited a couple. I was back in the States. I live in Germany, by the way. I was back in the States in 2007 for about 18 months out in Killeen, the home of Fort Hood, Texas, and I got to visit some VA hospitals. They're still very poorly staffed. Most of your doctors don't even speak English. Okay. It's ridiculous, and this is where the monies need to be spent, not to be spent at war. I didn't say that I agree with war. I said that the military, used for the purpose it was there. There are a lot of people that have had good careers, have gotten learned good skills, and gotten out and went on to do better things. Okay.
No,
there are problems with the military, just like there's problems with any other company that's out there in the United States of America. And it's the people that cause the problem, and it's not the system. It's the people. The recruiters, a lot of pressures are put on them to fill quotas, and some of them end up doing dirty tactics. Just like, exactly, I work for an insurance company. There's some guys who sell insurance policies the right way, and there's some that are just looking to make a check.
Okay, but wait a second. Who's on? Who has speaker? Okay. Well, you just said it's not the system, but if the system puts the pressure on the recruiters, it is the system, right?
Again, that's Rumsfeld. That's Rumsfeld talk. They joined. It's them giving the responsibility to the individual soldier. That is wicked. They know that these soldiers are trying to do their best to follow their orders. So the leaders have to take responsibility. Because to me, at the time, when I was watching those drill instructors spit in that kid's face and all that, you know who I thought was the dirtiest, nastiest person of all? The Commandant of the Marine Corps. I wasn't hating down low. I said right away, the fish rots from the head. These men are spitting in this boy's face because they were told it's an option if they wanted to use it.
Wow.
That is why they were not individually evil. Their moms didn't raise them to spit in faces. They were told to do it. That's nastiness and evil. That is wickedness, and it comes from the top. And so I'm not blaming any soldier ever for this kind of stuff. It's the system. It's the military itself and the way they choose to deal with these young men that join, who they hate.
Question. After basic training, what did you find good about the military?
The good parts.
After basic. After you got to your first duty station.
Be real.
When you said it was like a corporation, that's all it was. When you get into the fleet, it's just a job. You get up at a certain time. You're expected to do a certain thing during the day. You're checked off on it if you did your job or not, and you slowly advance that way. So it does become like just a regular job. Except no corporation, I don't think, spits in their employees' faces the first day. But it just becomes a regular gig. It's just early. Plus, there's also a lot of physical fitness involved too. You can't just. But one thing but as just a regular job, the hours are way earlier than you would normally have. You could have your bag packed up, ready to take a 3-day weekend, and here comes the officer of the day, right? Coming up, hey, hold on, we need some guard duty in the motor pool. What? And boom, put your bus ticket down, put your bag down, get dressed, and go stand out there on the corner all night. And to have that done to you a couple times is whack. You're sitting there going, this I don't have enough of my own life to be fulfilled and happy. I can't flourish under this system. It's not allowing me to be.
That's the thing. Some people's for and some people's not. For me, it was not. I did 10 years, and after they changed the military system and took the power from the NCOs, I felt it was time for me to get out. If you talk to the average young soldier today, they would tell you that their NCOs, non-commissioned officers, they don't care. They only care about their self. That's the young soldiers, the enlisted soldiers. Okay, that's coming from them. And that's the sad part, is because it takes a good NCO to make a good soldier. And right now there's not enough. They were promoted too fast because of this war. They didn't go through the steps. They didn't learn. But now, I will say this, okay? A person can do a 20-year career in the military, okay, if that's what they choose to do, if they don't mind the traveling, and they can make some very good money, very good living for their family. It's being done every day. So there's two sides to it. Some people is for it.
I think you keep coming
some people's
back
not for it.
Yeah, but as far as making a living and offering a job, we can do without the military and make jobs somewhere else. I mean, if that's going to be the only thing is people go for school money or people go to make a living, then let's make school money come from somewhere else. Then, okay, I'll take a chance to go to Afghanistan 7 times so I can have some books and sit in school. That's not a good offer for a young man to do. And if he's just trying to learn, let's get learning and let's get school money coming from somewhere else. Let's
figure out a way for everybody to be able to get some school learning. Let's figure out how to get everybody some schooling with just a free laptop and a headphone and a microphone. You know what I mean?
And when everybody's,
this right here could have been a class.
Well,
you're right.
Since we're telling since this is the truth about the military on Memorial Day show, let's be honest. If we've all been in, right? You know how many people don't do shit, that slide around and just hide and just get their basic evaluations and they don't really climb up. They're just there. They're just lumps of meat. And every time I hear people, oh, you're in the military, support the troops, I go, oh, okay. There's a lot of troops that ain't doing shit, that are shit bags, that are wasting everybody's time, that are getting a paycheck and not giving up no love and no work and no nothing. The military's filled with people just sliding,
let me tell you why.
Yeah.
Could I tell you why? Because the average person that joins the military, and the reason I'm telling this is because I'm getting ready to start doing a series of presentations on this, is because they join the military with no plan for success. They just joined.
No, you're right.
Okay?
I mean, look.
Circumstances put them into the military.
You know what?
But they don't have any plan for success.
I would listen to any presentation you have, because if you had the forethought to laugh at them trying to hurt your feelings, and get in your head, right, to be able to laugh inside about it as a protection, you might have some other tools that can help people not go through mental pain. And you know what I mean? Because there's some people who can't. They never had nobody yelling at them like that before. If you had a
because
mom,
nobody should. Listen, I can give a course on a battered wife, how to block, how to laugh at when she's slapped, how to put down the insults that she's fat and lazy and stupid. I mean, I can counsel a battered wife how to handle that man, and maybe she'll be able to survive. The point is, the man should not be doing what he's doing. That's the bottom. That's it. That's the class. It's not
All right,
trying to help
say this.
people.
Let me make you feel good. What you said about the guy spitting in somebody's face, I never saw that happen. I saw some pretty bad stuff. I never saw that happen. And
Well, what's your bad stuff? Then
probably that should
share
have
a
been
bad
reported
stuff.
to somebody, because that was nasty. You can spread disease like that. And probably I would not have been in the Marines after that day, because I'd have probably tried my best to knock the guy's, I guess I can't say that on the air. It's a family show. I'd knock the guy's front teeth out. Let's put it that way.
No. You can cuss. You can cuss like a motherfucker on here. We don't care.
All right. Well, I would have knocked the guy's teeth out of his mouth if he would have came at me like that.
Right. But we're saying is,
I know both. Like I said, I've been around the military all my life. There's some awful good people in there. Okay. But at the same time, I mean, there's a few scumbags running around in there too.
What I'm saying is that if anybody saw that story, that the hospital in D.C., or wherever it was, that was all messed up. I don't even know where it was, because no one talked about it enough for it to stay solid in my head.
I remember what you're talking about. It disappeared.
Okay.
It was brought up, it was talked about, and then it disappeared.
And so what needed to happen? But I guess it's on a military base, so it can't happen because it's under the radar, because you don't know what's going on. It's just not right for us to have all that before the wars. Here come the go troops, go troops, go troops, and start showing people's individual stories. But then when people die, to not show their casket, to me, is to pretend like they didn't exist, and to act like their life didn't have value. Now the family can decide which way. The family should be able to decide which way they want to go.
From some parent complaining or something like that. But I wish I knew the whole story. I remember that also. But I thought that came out of some parent complaining about a flag being put over the coffin or something like that.
There are all kinds of stuff.
Which is supposed to be honorable to put that flag over the coffin, just the opposite way.
Right, because the family looked at the flag as look. The ramping up of patriotism and jingoism during the Bush days, okay? People want to act like and pretend he ain't there, okay? Really did a disservice to this country in a lot of ways. Once again, so answer this: Is Osama bin Laden a boogeyman? Was he a boogeyman all that time? And now the boogeyman's dead, so boom, we should be coming back home.
We should be coming back home. You're right. That's what I'm saying. The war should have been over in a year. If they got him back like they got him, okay, why couldn't they have done that? Within the first 12 months.
Well, that's what Tanya was saying.
Why did we end up going to
because these
Iraq
guys,
instead of going to Afghanistan and finding him? He's been out there all that time.
Right, and so should the military be more acting like that in the first place? Where all right, we found out that some dude is trafficking women and has a whole crew doing that someplace, right? Then you got to send in the SEALs. You got to send in the double SEAls, right?
Yeah, that is a good question. Why hasn't it been done?
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Let's get crispy on this, okay? If somebody's trafficking children, then you get the double SEAls in there, and then you slice some heads off and leave them there, and then people know if you're trafficking children, if you're trafficking women, if you're trafficking young women, you ain't gonna live very long. How about that? Why not use it for that? If you want to be the police like that.
But they're not the police; they're the military.
You know what I mean. Yeah,
I understand
you
what
know
you're
what I
saying.
mean.
And some of them probably have come
Well,
out and become
when you're
cops.
doing
Isn't that
something,
what they just did to Bin Laden? Right?
That was
Hey, you're not gonna cut off the head. You gotta
I'd
pop
rather
the
see the
eye.
guy go to trial, but what can I say, man? No.
You know what? I would too, because then we would get to see who were the people who gave him weapons in the first place. You know what I mean? Who exactly were, right?
Thank you.
Who
well,
gave Saddam weapons and the stuff, right? Wasn't it like some people say it's Rumsfeld?
Well, that was
Might
probably
be.
why he had to be killed.
Exactly. So that shows
Right.
you how unrighteous this stuff is, because if the guy who sold Saddam some weapons ends up being the guy running the military, come on, it's such a horrifying thing to think about. You as a person getting caught up in that mess, and it goes back to
just
the rich
better
who
off.
means to die for profit.
But I'm gonna
Yeah,
give you some
and
food to
we're
think about, since we're talking about reasons for the military, and you can go back and trace this in with Google, I presume, because usually you can Google and everything. But are you aware that during the time that there was a draft, that there were less gangs in the United States of America? Are you aware of that?
Really?
You mean in that time? Yeah, well,
Right.
that's before kind of the Crips and Bloods took off, though. Anyways, right? Is that what you mean?
Hey,
Those
that's
kind of
what I
gangs?
said. They couldn't because of the draft system. The draft system took them out. They took people out of their neighborhoods, and a lot of people got to see a different part of the world, different part of the country, and they never went back. You know, so did we ruin something that, and then created a monster that we can't control?